move on to discuss the Commanders. So the Commanders, they got that overtime win over the Atlanta Falcons. It was a great game on Sunday Night Football. Lived up. I was absolutely, you know, really satisfied with how the game went. I thought we had some good football. I thought we had, some talent shown on both sides of the ball. I thought the back and forth nature to it was special. How Atlanta came out to the jumped an early lead in the second quarter, getting up 10 points, and then the Commanders methodically getting themselves back into the game and into the lead, and the Falcons suddenly needing that late drive to tie it up. And the way Michael Penix executed that drive and made that final play to get them in. But then it was Washington who got the victory. Jaden Daniels leads that winning overtime drive, touchdown, Zach Ertz, game over. Look, obviously this was a big loss for Atlanta Falcons, because of the fact that the Falcons are trying to get into the playoffs. They're trying to win the division. And what they did now is they had the ball, they had their opportunity, they controlled their own destiny. The Falcons did. They controlled their own destiny. And they had the opportunity now, if they win this game and they win their next game against the Carolina Panthers, winnable game, they won the division. Now with losing the game, they give the opportunity back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have their own destiny. They win. They win against the Saints, who are awful, and yeah, they're awful. They've been terrible. They beat the Saints, who, they're in the playoffs, and it's that simple for the Buccaneers. And Atlanta, they had their opportunities throughout the duration of the season. Some of the slip-ups, it's been horrible. They had their opportunities. This division, they should have won it. They should have won it quite easily. But they had bad slip-ups. And now, despite the Buccaneers, them having the tiebreaker advantage over the Buccaneers, with the 2 wins over the Buccaneers are still probably going to win the division. And look, the Falcons, they made that late season change at quarterback, going with the rookie Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins, he hasn't been good enough. Yes, he's coming off an Achilles, but the performance has just not been good enough. 88 quarterback rating, 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He's really been garbage, or hasn't been to the level that he's getting paid. He's getting paid a lot of money, and Raheem Morris decided to make the switch to go with Michael Penix. And look, early on, I have to say, Michael Penix, early on looked a little bit shaky. He had a throw, he missed a wide open receiver over the middle, then followed up with the interception, where it was a really bad interception. Looked like the Commanders' safety was the intended receiver. Maybe a little bit miscommunication. He expected him to break out on the route. I think it was Drake London. I believe it was Drake London broke inside. Miscommunication there leads to that interception. And this was my first time watching Michael Penix, so I was like early on, that looked a little shaky. I don't know. I don't know. Is this the guy? Then he came out in the second drive, and I have to say, I think I was convinced with one throw he made, and that one throw wasn't even a completion. It was, I believe it was attempting to hit Charlie Warner down the middle, and the way he got it, the way he threaded the needle in between four defenders who had, who, if it was a bad ball, had an opportunity to play that football. The way he threaded it, with the velocity that he threw it, and the precision and the accuracy and the timing of that throw, and it ends up, Warner didn't catch it, because Warner ends up getting, Charlie Warner ends up getting hit sticked, and the ball jars loose. But it was an amazing throw, and it was an absolutely incredible throw. And I thought after that, when he made that play that didn't end up actually being, the play didn't happen. But after that, I thought we saw a little bit different Michael Penix. Number one, this offense was balanced. Bijan Robinson, 17 carries for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. But we saw Penix, who was a little bit methodical, made the plays when he needed to, couldn't really stop the bleeding with the Commanders coming back into the game, but he kept them in the game, and he led that drive at the end, which was the thing I was really most impressed with. He led that drive in the end where they ended up getting the touchdown to tie the game, despite he had a little bit help from penalties, but he also had some difficult circumstances. On 1st and goal, the ball gets snapped over Bijan Robinson, who's in a Wildcat. It's a 22-yard loss, and suddenly, the Falcons are at 2nd and goal from the 30 almost. But he was able to make a chunk play to, get it down to a closer 3rd and goal to Drake London. The 3rd and goal, they go incomplete. And then 4th and goal, he threads the needle again. Really good throw to Kyle Pitts. And this touchdown to tie the game. And obviously that touchdown came with around a minute and some change left. So going for 2 at that moment, I don't think was the greatest decision. I don't think would have been the greatest decision. And Raheem Morris agreed with me. He decided to kick it. I'm good with that. They go to overtime, and then Jaden Daniels did what Jaden Daniels did. Look, Jaden Daniels, he's a big time baller. Rookie of the year, forget that. He blew that out of the water. He won that months ago. He's just a baller. And to get the Commanders back into the playoffs, which the Commanders, by the way, with this win, they clinched that playoff position. The way he did it, the plays he made periodically throughout the game, not just throwing, but rushing to 19 carries, 127 yards. And look, every time he runs the ball, I get scared. Some of the hits he take at his size, sometimes he doesn't need to take care of his body better because he's not the most he doesn't have the most stature. He's a skinny guy. He's a skinny quarterback, but he can take the punishment, and he's not afraid to run, and he's not afraid to get physical. And the plays he made with his legs to extend drives, some of the throws he made with precision. He had 3 touchdowns as well. The winning throw on 3rd and goal in overtime, on the biggest moment. Zach Ertz making an amazing catch. Nobody wants to talk about the catch, but that catch was literally his fingertips. It was an incredible catch. And Zach Ertz, he's a certified professional. He's been doing it for a really long time now. He's been in the league for a while, 34 years old. And he's been big part of this of this Commanders team this season, just making timely plays. You look at the stats, he's not really dominating. He only has 610 yards this season, but he's making timely plays when needed. He's that security blanket for Jaden Daniels, who every rookie, they need that security tight end. They need that security player. That's exactly what Zach Ertz is. He also has 6 touchdowns, so he's been important to part of this team in the red zone as well. He had 2 touchdowns against Atlanta on this past Sunday. Watch out for the Washington Commanders. They're a really, really good team. Now, the thing is, right now, it's looking like most likely or not, they're going to take on the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs. Wow. That's a good game. If you go back, you remember Dan Quinn, actually, he's won. He's taken his team into Los Angeles and beat Sean McVay's Rams before. He did it in Atlanta the year after they lost the Super Bowl. They beat that Rams team, that first Rams team to rise up under Sean McVay. He beat them and eliminated them in the wild card round as a road underdog in the playoffs. He will have an opportunity again to do that, this time with the rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Chances are. Now, you never know with the seeding. Things might, I don't know exactly. I don't think both teams are locked in. But most likely that's what it's looking like. So yeah, I'm excited for that one, if we get it. And I'm excited about this Commanders team. I think they play some really good ball. And Jaden Daniels, what he's done this regular season, I don't see why he can't continue to do it in the playoffs. I don't think this moment is too big for him. The way he's playing, he's just an absolute baller. They're so balanced with Jaden Daniel, and yeah, I think he's been very, very impressive.